What if I told you that not everything that shines is meant to be admired? This is the story of Chinyere and the secret hidden in her necklace. I am Amara. I am 25 years old, born and raised in Lagos, though my parents are from Enugu. I have always believed that Lagos is a city where you can see tomorrow and yesterday walking side by side on the same street. You see glass towers reflecting the sun, but right beside them, women fry akara by the roadside. You hear young people speaking in polished English mixed with American slang, but in the same breath, an old woman curses in Yoruba or Igbo. That is Lagos for you, full of noise, full of dreams, full of secrets. I will never forget the day Chinyere came back from Dubai. Chinyere and I grew up in the same compound in Surulere. We were not close friends, but our mothers were like sisters. I had always known Chinyere to be beautiful, light-skinned, tall, with that sharp nose that men in Lagos love too much. But when she returned from Dubai, she was not just beautiful. She was glowing like someone who had swallowed the sun. She came home with boxes, Louis Vuitton bags, Zara dresses, perfumes that smelled like heaven. But the thing that caught everyone's eyes, the thing that turned heads and made tongues wag, was the necklace around her neck. It was gold, or at least it looked like gold with a big red stone in the center. But it was not just about how it looked. It was how it caught the light. Sometimes when the sun touched it, it seemed to glow like fire. At night, under streetlights, it shimmered like water. And when she walked, the necklace moved like it was alive. At first, we all thought it was just expensive fashion. But Lagos people talk. Before 2 weeks passed, the whole neighborhood knew that every man who came near Chinyere lost something. The first was Cheek. Cheek was a banker, the kind of young man every parent wanted for their daughter. Always in suits, always smelling like fresh money. He saw Chinyere at a wedding party. She was wearing a red gown that hugged her body, and the necklace sat on her chest like a crown jewel. Before the week ended, Cheeky was already driving her around in his black Mercedes. We thought it was love. But 2 weeks later, news broke that Cheeky had been suspended from the bank. They said he had signed some wrong papers, that millions went missing under his watch. He swore he was innocent, but nobody listened. By the end of the month, his car was gone, his flat locked up, and he was back in his father's old house, broke and bitter. And Chinyere? She was still shining, still smiling, still walking with that necklace. Then came Malik. Malik was not Igbo like us, he was Yoruba, from Lekki. He was one of those tech guys, the kind that always carried laptops and talked about investments in cryptocurrency. He met Chinyere at a lounge in Victoria Island. That night, she wore a white jumpsuit, her long braids falling over her shoulders, and the necklace sitting like fire on her chest. By morning, Malik was already posting her pictures on Instagram with heart emojis. 3 weeks later, Malik disappeared from social media. His friends whispered that he had lost millions in some investment. But the funny thing is, Malik was always careful. He was the kind of man who calculated before he even bought a bottle of water. Suddenly, his mind had scattered. By the time people saw him again, he was living in a small boys' quarters at his cousin's house. He no longer wore designer clothes. He no longer carried his MacBook. He no longer looked like himself. And Chinyere? She was still glowing, still moving through the city like Lagos belonged to her. I remember one particular evening. I was sitting with my friend Ifeoma at a cafe in Ikeja Gra. Chinyere walked in, dressed in a simple black gown, heels clicking against the tiles. Every man in that place turned their head. Even the married ones with their wives beside them could not hide their eyes. But Ifeoma is not like other people. She is blunt. When Chinyere came to greet us, Ifeoma said, "Chinyere, this your necklace is something else-o. Where exactly did you buy it?" Chinyere smiled, her lips painted dark red. She touched the necklace lightly with her fingers. "Dubai," she said. "Special boutique. Limited edition." Ifeoma pressed further, "So it's just fashion?" Chinyere's smile widened, but her eyes. I swear those eyes looked different. Almost like she was daring us to ask more. She leaned closer and whispered, "Everything has a price, my dear. You just have to be willing to pay." That night, I could not sleep. Those words replayed in my head. The final straw came with Ibuka. Ibuka was my cousin, so what happened to him hurt me personally. He was a music producer, young and talented, always in jeans and sneakers, with dreadlocks falling on his forehead. His dream was to build a studio in Lekki. He worked day and night, saving every kobo, and by God's grace, he was making it. But then he met Chinyere. At first, I warned him. I told him, "Abuka, don't go near that girl. Haven't you heard what happened to others?" He laughed. "Amara, stop listening to gossip. Chinyere is just a fine girl. Nothing more." 3 months later, Abuka was gone. Not dead, but gone in another way. His studio burned down one night, and nobody knew how the fire started. He lost all his equipment. His artists left him. His girlfriend broke up with him. The boy who used to walk tall started wandering the streets of Surulere with empty eyes. And when I asked him what happened, he only said one thing: "It's the necklace." By then, I knew this was not ordinary. I began asking questions quietly. Some people told me the necklace was from a palace in Dubai, once owned by an emir's favorite wife. Others said it was dug up from the sand, cursed by the spirit of a dead queen. But one old woman, Mama Esther, who sold herbs at Ojwa Legba, gave me the story that chilled my blood. She said the necklace was never meant to be worn by an ordinary woman. It belonged to an ancient goddess of wealth and ruin. The necklace gave fortune to the woman who wore it, but fed on the blessings of every man who touched her. "Your friend Chinyere," Mama Esther said, shaking her head, "is not shining by her own light. She is shining with the lives of others." I wanted to confront Chinyere. One evening, I went to her new flat in Lekki Phase 1. She had moved there after her last boyfriend, some big politician, bought it for her. She opened the door looking like a goddess. Hair done, nails long and red, body glowing in a silk robe. And the necklace was there, resting on her skin like it owned her. "Chinyere," I said, my voice trembling. "Why are you doing this to people?" For a moment, she looked at me like she didn't understand. Then she laughed softly, almost sadly. "Amara," she said, "I was tired of suffering. Do you know what it means to be invisible in this city? To be beautiful but broke? To have men use you and throw you away? I swore I would never be powerless again." The necklace gave me a choice. And I chose. Her eyes glistened with tears, but her hand never left the necklace. "Every man who comes to me," she whispered, "thinks he is chasing me, but it is the necklace that chooses them. I cannot stop it, even if I wanted to." At that moment, I saw it. Her beauty was real, yes, but the necklace was the master, and she was its servant. 2 weeks later, Chinyere vanished. Some said she traveled again. Some said a man took her abroad. But Ifeoma swore she saw her one night at 3rd Mainland Bridge, standing alone, her necklace glowing in the darkness. And me? I don't know what to believe. But sometimes, when I walk through Lagos streets at night, I hear it a faint shimmer, like the sound of metal touching metal. And I remember Chinyere's words, "Everything has a price." So whenever I see a woman glowing too brightly, shining too suddenly, I whisper to myself, "Not everything that glitters is gold." In the city, temptations wear designer clothes and perfume. But some beauty carries a debt that nobody can afford to pay, and so her story ended. But the necklace still glows in the shadows. If you ever see it, remember not every jewel brings wealth. Some bring ruin.